It's time now for a look at the latest in local news. In the news, the hearing for that 11-year-old juvenile who faces serious charges in connection with the death of 8-year-old Noah Bush was scheduled for Thursday morning, but the judge granted a continuance as the child's new attorney from Savannah had a family emergency and asked for a continuance. That was granted by Judge Jerry Caldwell, who is overseeing this case. He recused himself from the 10-year-old juvenile's case, but not from the 11-year-old's case. New hearing date is set for August 22nd. After the continuance was granted, WIFO-FM able to interview the attorneys representing the Noah Bush family, the law firm Davis and Bozeman out of Savannah, Georgia. Here's our exclusive interview with the Noah Bush family attorneys. Once again, we're here with the attorneys of Noah Bush today at a continuance. I understand that the new attorney just familiar with the case and said she had a family emergency. Is that correct?
Yes, these kind of things routinely happen where attorneys can't be present. The judge was almost bound to continue the matter, and the one thing is clear: this young man is going back to the detention center where he belongs.
So August 22nd is the new date. Haven't seen y'all since the sentencing of the 10-year-old. He was sentenced to 2 years. And your thoughts on that?
Well, he was sentenced to the maximum that's allowed under the juvenile code, and I think it sends a clear message about the system's opinion of his actions. And remember, he was the least culpable according to the narrative that investigators put out. And so this is very serious. Of course, the family will have to deal with this for the rest of their lives. But the maximum punishment was meted out.
What's the maximum punishment for the 11-year-old? What's he facing?
The same thing.
2 years?
Yes.
That's the most under Georgia law? Is
Yes.
that due to their age?
Due to their age.
Right. So your thoughts on that? I mean, people keep asking about justice. I mean, is that justice?
Of course it's not. Of course it's not. I think Wayne County should seriously consider the circumstances, and especially given that borrow pit that they maintain, and should seek to try to help this family to move forward, and we would invite those discussions.
I understand that these two boys were interviewed. What is their narrative? I understand you got to see those interviews. What did they tell on? I mean, what did they say happened that day?
Well, after lying and after obfuscation and denial and help by their parents to do that, they eventually confessed and pointed the finger at the other, both accusing the other of having knives, both accusing the other of having malintent towards Noah Bush, and both trying to minimize their involvement in his death and in what is the most diabolical part of this, the cover-up, where they walked around participating in a search for someone that they knew they had helped to murder.
I know one thing y'all continue to ask for the parents of these kids to be charged, and they still have not.
The parents, we are convinced based on having viewed the interviews, the behavior, that the parents were involved.
They knew something happened bad.
They knew something happened bad, and instead of coming forward and showing their humanity towards this family, instead they participated and attempted to cover up the wrongdoing of their children. And this is something that has to be prosecuted. The investigation has to continue, and there has to be justice as it relates to these adults. These adults knew, participated, and must be held accountable, and they have to receive the maximum in their involvement in this cover-up. There's still a lot to be investigated. So that's what this family continues to push for. These community members that come here, they know that it's more than just a 10 and 11-year-old, that there's a lot more to this.
So you think the parents are being investigated this time?
It is our hope that they are. We won't know the extent of it until some charges are brought, but we intend on, with this family and community, continuing to stand until charges are brought against these adults who were involved in this. They have to be prosecuted.
Beyond the initial charge for the older juvenile's mother, who has been charged with false report.
Right.
No, she's been charged with more than that. She's been charged with felony false report.
You want her charged with concealing the death, though, right?
No, not charged with concealing the death, but providing false reports in a public document in association with this case.
But I'm saying, y'all were pushing for that, right? That she should be charged with, that you felt that she knew something happened? Don't you feel she concealed?
We don't feel that she knew. We know that she did, because these juveniles returned to their home and they got the aid and assistance of these parents to help them to cover this up. So we think the charges should be consistent with the facts, and we think there's probable cause for additional arrest.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
And once again, those are the comments of the attorneys for Noah Bush's family at the hearing yesterday that was pushed back to August 22nd due to the attorney having a family emergency. Again, they're still pushing for charges against the parents of the two juveniles involved. Again, the 11-year-old's hearing rescheduled for the 22nd. He faces charge of involuntary manslaughter, simple battery, concealing the death of Noah Bush, and criminal trespassing. Again, we'll continue to follow the story as it develops. We'll be back with a report from Thursday's Caldwell County Commissioners meeting after this word from our sponsor, other commercial messages, so please stay tuned. In other news, the Wayne County Commissioners met Thursday afternoon in a call meeting to discuss and approve the sale of $15 million worth of bonds so they can proceed with plans for the SPLOST 5 projects, the courthouse renovation, the community center, etc. Board voted 4-1 with Commissioner Jamie Hickox voting no, but saying she's not against selling the bonds. She's just not in favor of selling the bonds without a plan. She says that she continues to be kept out of the loop. Here's a portion of the meeting in which she and Commissioner Tim Hopkins had this exchange.
We just went out there in thin air and said, okay, we're just going to do these projects. We think they're going to cost $15 million.
That's exactly what we did.
No,
that
it's
is
not
exactly what we did.
did.
That is exactly what we
No,
did.
we did not.
Thin air. Exactly.
Well, I'm not sure where you've been at, but I have been part of a lot of talking. We've called contractors.
I haven't been involved in any talking.
Well, I can't help that.
I know. Yes, you can.
Okay.
No, I can't.
Any more questions for them?
What it sounds like to me, okay, we go buy these bonds. All right, if we use half of the $15 million that we do, we're still going to make $350,000. So within 2 years, we're going to make $700,000. We got the money. Whenever we decide to get these plans ready, we're ready to go. That's where I see the biggest bang, and we're making money.
We're paying $2 million.
That's at the end of the 6 years, Jamie.
It's still dollars. It's maybe $2
Do
million.
you think you can go buy a car, whether you buy it today or you buy it 2 years from now, you still got to pay the same thing for the car, and you still got to pay interest on it?
Not if you
The only thing we're doing is we're getting this, go ahead and get this ahead of time so we can move forward, like we told the taxpayers we were going to do. And the benefit is we're going to make $700,000 in 2 years.
And we're going to pay out $2 million
in 6 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Which you're going to pay
I have
anyway.
said several times, I'm for selling bonds when we have a plan. When we have a plan. We have looked at competition pools. Nobody has looked at multi-purpose centers because the last 2 meetings I've asked about it and everybody's too busy. The courthouse, I have asked a dozen times, do we have anything on courthouse? Do we have anything on the courthouse? And I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean and hateful, but I don't want a courthouse that looks like that election building.
And once again, that part of the discussion last night at the meeting, Bond Representative Bill Camp on hand at the meeting saying he's been involved in discussions about the SPLOST 5 projects back when there was a discussion of a $42 million courthouse complex drawing that was once proposed, but since then has been objected to, and a lot less costly project for renovation for the courthouse will be forthcoming. Jamie Hickox says there's no plan. The people need to see architectural drawings to have an idea of where their money is being spent. After the presentation and discussion on Thursday, it came down to a vote, and here was the 4-1 vote with Commissioner Jamie Hickox explaining why she's voting no.
I'm going to make that motion.
Okay.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments?
I'm so against this. Not selling of bonds, I'm against selling of the bonds right now. I think we should have architectural plans. He said we're flushed with reserves. We can afford $100,000 to get a plan that we can put out to all the citizens of Wayne County and get the big thumbs up, because you're paying the bill. I'm not against this, and I appreciate the hard work these gentlemen have done. I'm ashamed that they've been doing it for 3 years, and I have known not one word about it, and you have known not one word about it. That's not these gentlemen's fault. But we cannot continue to have these gotcha projects. What's our community center going to look like? What's our competition pool going to look like? What's our courthouse going to look like? What's it going to look like? Do we as citizens deserve to know this information before we jump off into $15 million worth of debt? That's my only question. That's all I got to say.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner McCrary,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickox.
No.
And once again, the vote 4-1 to proceed with purchasing and selling the bonds. The county should receive a check for $15 million by August 15th, and then they can proceed forward with the SPLOST 5 projects. Commissioners meet this morning for their meet and greet with their new EMS director, Patrick Parson. That's set for today from 9 to 11 a.m. at the County Commissioners meeting room. Public invited to attend. County meets Monday. The county now seeking resumes from anyone who's interested in being appointed to the county's election board. It's going to be a 3-member board, and the county has already received recommendations from both the local Republican and Democratic parties. But the commissioners on Thursday said they felt they need to open the process up to anyone who feels they would like to serve on the board. They say there could be a diamond in the rough out there. So again, if you're interested in being on the election board, you should send your resume to the county office for consideration. The commissioners plan to appoint a 3-member board at their September board meeting. We'll be back with a final news note after this word from our sponsor, the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. This coming Monday, Wayne County has open house for all schools from 3:30 to 6 p.m. Wayne County is hosting an open house for freshman orientation at the high school that same day, August 5th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. This is for all incoming freshmen and is for students only. At 2:30, they'll ask the parents to join their students for a brief informational session in the high school auditorium. Then they will visit teachers' classrooms for open house at 3 p.m. Again, the open house for all schools set for August 5th from 3:30 to 6 p.m. That's going to do it for latest in local news. Sports comes your way in a few minutes. Bob Morgan, have a great day.